breakfast with Kellogg's Special K.
Good morning and welcome back to Expresso here on SABC3, your feel-good breakfast show. Now, this morning we're talking about how to glam it up in winter with Special K. And today's guest, the shoe wearer, is an American songbird who knows how to marry the night because she was born this way. Now, this superstar forever keeps her fans on their toes by wearing outrageous statement pieces and often causing a little bit of beef. There's a clue for you. These heels are truly a statement piece, taking the innocent ballerina look and making it into rocker chic. Now tell me, can you guess who the wearer is? I'll tell you in about 5 minutes from now, but let's go over to Graham, and no, he's not the wearer of those shoes. Graham, over to you. Thank you so much, Graham, for that great youth sport over there. Now, if you were watching just a few minutes ago, we did show you some pics of a really, really interesting, glamorous, outrageous shoe that a celebrity was wearing. And if you were able to guess right, then you would know that the answer is none other than Lady Gaga herself. Yes, crazy woman as she is, but she definitely is doing it for herself. Now, the weather is reaching freezing point, and no one likes to exercise or drink loads of water when it's this cold. Let's just be honest. But Kellogg's Special K is offering us some useful, easy-to-follow tips to maintain our weight during the colder months. And we have with us this morning Megan Pence-Clayton. She's a registered nutrition and dietetics consultant, and she's joining us this morning to discuss a few shape and weight management tips for us to follow in winter. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's lovely being here.
It's very good to have you here. And I'm very happy that you're here because winter's a struggle for all of us. Not only to maintain weight, to lose weight, to drink water, because it's so cold. What are some of the tips that you can give us so that we can actually help in terms of weight management?
Well, the first thing I would suggest to people is definitely to look at having breakfast. Breakfast is really great in terms of the fact that it's been shown that people that do eat breakfast are actually slimmer.
Wow.
And they also tend to crave less during the day. So my suggestion would be, start your day with a low-fat breakfast, something like cereal, and with some low-fat milk. And of course, because it is a little bit chilly out there, warm your milk, so you get that nurturing feeling.
That's true, very good. Because a lot of people, they brag about the fact that they're not breakfast people, but they're actually doing more harm than good. Okay?
That's right,
okay.
Absolutely.
Tip number 2.
Well, the next thing we want to look at, and I think this is an important one, is to look at portion size. And, of course, not to forget mindful eating. Yes. What I often find is people sit in front of the television and they're sitting and they're eating. Please, rather, sit and enjoy your meals. And when it comes to portion size, keep those in mind. A big portion size is going to obviously lead to a high energy intake.
So instead of 3 big meals a day, have 5 smaller meals, hey?
Very good idea, yes.
Okay, awesome. Tip number 3.
Well, the next thing we need to look at is obviously concentrating a little bit on our fat intake.
Yeah.
I think in winter we tend to obviously,
comfort food, hey?
Absolutely, and we know those are high in fat.
Yeah.
One way of doing it is to have a look at the labels. Okay, when you look at your label, you'll see there's a nutritional table on the label. Look under the 100-gram column, and you'll see if it's less than 3 grams per 100 grams, that's low fat.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. I think a lot of people don't actually look at that, or they look at maybe the energy or the carbohydrate intake and not necessarily the fat. Hey?
Absolutely. And also remember as well, when we're looking at certain foods, we get hidden fats.
Yes.
Those biscuits and those cookies and rusks. So we need to be very aware that those are hidden fats that we need to consider.
That's so true.
And then also, it's a really nice way of just looking at alternatives to fat intake. So those creamy sauces, that cream that you add to your soup, change that and add some yogurt instead.
Okay. Tip number 4.
Okay. Looking at vegetables. We need to increase those vegetables. What's fabulous about vegetables is they are very nutritious, they're very low in energy, and of course they fill us up.
Okay.
So by adding in vegetables, we feel nourished and we feel full. And of course, a nice way to do that is to grate some carrots, add that into the mince, for example. You can add more casseroles, more vegetable soups. Those are really good ones to
And there's also tons of nice ways to make them. You could slow roast them as well and get that whole crunchy, roasty taste as well from it,
exactly. And that again, that's nice and warm.
That's
so
true.
We're actually happy to have those in winter.
That's true. Okay, tip number 5.
Okay, looking at our next, tip, I think it's really important to go into looking at beverages. what we beverages can offer a lot of energy, and we don't always realize that, energy and fat. I mean, just for example, we get these powders nowadays, like a chai tea powder. Those, of course, are often very filled with energy. So instead, rather use one of those chai tea bags, add that into your as a beverage, and of course, a nice way to increase your fluid intake. So normal teas and coffees are great. The moment we start adding in full cream milks and we're adding in sugars and creams, we're obviously increasing the energy intake. So be very aware of that and rather cut down on those.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Megan. And of course, we cannot get away from the fact exercise is important.
No,
okay?
Absolutely. It's pivotal.
It's pivotal,
Absolutely. And, you know, there's some easy ways to get around that. Firstly, just look at something like, you know, some belly dancing, if you like. That's a good one. Yoga, join a friend, you know, get a buddy that you can be a bit more accountable to in the winter months. And some guidelines. Try to aim to accumulate at least 30 minutes of exercise a day, over at least 5 days a week. That's a good starting point. Another way is to wear a pedometer. Some of us know it as a step counter. And try and work your way up to 10,000 steps a day.
Wonderful. There we have it. Megan, thank you so much for giving us those tips to help us staying healthy and fit this winter. We're with you all the way. Liesl, we're with you all the way as you reveal how awesome our studio continues to look. Over to you.
Look and feel fabulous with Kellogg's Special K.
Stay with Expresso and SABC3.